Shalom, shalom and welcome. Welcome to the White Roads Family Channel. My name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I'm compelled to present to an awakening, set-apart nation. Those who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father, who is the beginning and the end, the Creator, Yahuah, who manifests His word in the person of Yahusha and demonstrated the sacrifice and resurrection and send a set-apart spirit in Yahusha's name, as it is written in the scriptures in John 14:26. If you are one who seeks to do the will of the Almighty Father, I consider you my brother, my sister, my family. This series, From Four Corners to the Promised Land, I want to bring your attention to the matters of great links, and let you know that you are not alone. But before I get into this message, I want to say this. The views expressed in this message do not necessarily reflect the views of the owners, management, and/or shareholders of this media platform. With that said, let us get started. Great links. My brothers and sisters, I've had this title for some time. I have a list of things that have been put on my mind, on my heart, on my spirit. And sometimes I feel overwhelmed. Sometimes I feel like I'm not getting it out quick enough, fast enough, that the stream is not flowing like it should. And whenever I have doubt, I inquire, I pray more. I pray seeking to discern what the Spirit is saying to me, what the Spirit of Yahuah is saying to me in Yahusha's name. And in this segment, this day, this morning, I believe he confirmed this is the time to present this post. Great links. You are not alone, my brothers and sisters. Sometimes there are many of us who believe we are, but we're not. But before I dive into this subject of great links, let me share with you what was the capstone that pushed my spirit to begin this message, this day, this time, right now. You know, my brothers and sisters, the scriptures talk about an evil and adulterous generation always looking for a sign. It was as though, and I believe it was, the Spirit of Yahusha was saying that people always want a sign. They want to see something. They want to see proof. Satan uses distractions. Always want to distract us, take advantage of our sight. And you may have heard me say often, as I will say again, that vetting and examining the one in the mirror, as well as those whom we come in contact, is important. You may have even heard me give instructions on how to vet. Well, let me say what I encountered this morning. The Spirit of Yahusha says there are four minimal examples that are presented to reflect our relationship with the Almighty Father. One example is the body. There are scriptures throughout that talks about the body of Mashiach, the body of Yashar'al, the body of a set-apart nation. Another example the scriptures use is a tree. There's even one scripture that talks about being as a tree planted by the rivers of water in Psalms. Another example is vine. Another example is house. By now, my brothers and sisters, most of you may have seen examples. If not, use your technology, use your search engines. Search body, search tree, search vine, search house. And you will see these are comparison to us, my brothers and sisters. Now, why is this important? The Mashiach, the Spirit of the Mashiach, came upon me and said that in Satan's desire to distract, to take advantage of our sight, in our fleshly bodies, the hunger to want to see a sign, and all that will occur, the Most High knew that our focus will be always looking away from us and looking at other things. And I believe the Spirit of Yahusha was informing me that in that sight, looking away, it's easy. And we can easily become distracted. And so the Most High presented examples of a body, a tree, a vine, or a house, shelter. So you see, my brothers and sisters, if we fail to look in the mirror, if we fail to look at our reflection in water, whenever we see another person, a body, whenever we see a tree, whenever we see a vine, whenever we see a structure, we should be able to see the similarities to our relationship with Yahusha Mashiach. In other words, there's no escaping. And though the enemy may want to come at our sight, let us look at the body and consider the body of Yashar'al. Let us look at a tree and consider the set-apart family of Yashar'al. Let us look at a vine and consider the power and might, the unity through the Spirit of Yahusha. Let us look at the structure and know that this house, this tabernacle, individually and collectively, represents the house of Yahuah. With that said, let's get into some scriptures, my brothers and sisters. As you ponder on what I just said, pray on what I just said, let's get into some scriptures. Come with me, O Yashar'al, to Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. Remember I said, you're not alone. Here we read Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. We too, then having so great a cloud of witnesses all around us, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which is so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race set before us, looking to the Prince and Perfecter of our belief, Yahusha, who for the joy that was set before him endured the stake, having despised the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of the Almighty One. It said, let us run with endurance the race. I want you to consider this, my brothers and sisters. It is written that the days will be shortened for the elect's sake. And if the days are being shortened, if we realize the days are being shortened, would that not all of a sudden prove that there's the need to run this race with endurance? Let me continue. Did I not just present something to let you know you're not alone? We're not alone. Remembering Eliyahu's or Elijah's experience, consider 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 9 through 13. 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 9 through 13. It reads, and there he went into a cave and spent the night there, and see the word of Yahuah came to him and saying to him, what are you doing here, Eliyahu? And he said, I've been very jealous for Yahuah, the Almighty One of hosts, for the children of Yashar'al have forsaken your covenant. They have thrown down your slaughter places. They have killed your prophets with the sword, and I am left, I alone, and they seek my life to take it. And he said, go out and stand on the mountain before Yahuah, and see Yahuah pass by in a great and strong wind, tearing the mountains and breaking the rocks in pieces before Yahuah. Yahuah was not in the wind, and after the wind and earthquake, Yahuah was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. Yahuah was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. And it came to be when Eliyahu heard it, that he wrapped his face in his robe and went out and stood at the cave opening. And see, a voice came to him and said, what are you doing here, Eliyahu? If you continue to read the story, you will find that the Almighty Father proved to Eliyahu that there was others. Come with me as I continue. 14th verse, it says this. And he said, I've been very jealous for Yahuah, the Almighty One of hosts, for the children of Yashar'al has forsaken your covenant. They have thrown down your slaughter places, and they have killed your prophets with the sword, and I am left, I alone, and they seek my life to take it. And Yahuah said to him, go return on your way to the wilderness of Damascus, and you shall go in and anoint Hazael as sovereign over Aram, and anoint Jehu son of Nimshi as sovereign over Yashar'al, and anoint Elisha son of Shaphat and Abba Yahuah as prophet in your place. And it shall be that whoever escapes the sword of Hazael, Jehu does kill, and whoever escapes from the sword of Jehu, Elijah does kill. And I shall leave 7,000 in Yashar'al, all whose knees have not bowed to Baal, and every mouth that has not kissed him. You see, my brothers and sisters, Eliyahu was not alone, and the Almighty Father made it known to him. Let me ask you, my brothers and sisters, do you believe there will be a final exodus before the physical return of Yahusha HaMashiach? Do you believe that Yahusha HaMashiach exists? Have you given thought to what time it is now, what season we have entered into, my brothers and sisters? Come, let me read the following. In Isaiah 11:12, it reads, and he shall raise a banner for the nations and gather the outcasts of Yashar'al and assemble the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. That was Isaiah 11:12. Isaiah 43:5-7. Do not fear, for I am with you. I shall bring your seed from the east, gather you from the west. I shall say to the north, give them up, and to the south, do not keep them back. Bring my sons from afar, my daughters from the ends of the earth, all those who are called by my name, whom I have created, formed, even made for my esteem. Now, some people think this is saying all the set-apart people of Yashar'al, but let us not forget that we are informed that some of us will die for Yahusha's name. Let us not forget that some of us will be led astray. Let us not forget some of us will face physical death before this occurs. But there will be those that will fulfill this prophecy. Come with me to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. It is something that I believe is important. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 6-10. It say, and now you know what restrains for him to be revealed in his time. It's talking about the anti-Messiah. It say, for the secret of lawlessness is already at work. Look around, my brothers and sisters. Lawlessness is at work. But it says, only until he who now restrains him come out of the midst. I am compelled to believe with all my mind, body, and soul that we who will fulfill, those who will fulfill the final exodus, are the restrainer, are that which restrains the anti-Messiah from coming up and raising up in his fullness. It goes on to say in the 8th verse, and then the lawless one shall be revealed, whom the master shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and bring to naught with the manifestation of his coming. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood, and with all deceit and unrighteousness in those perishing, because they did not receive the love of the truth in order for them to be saved. Yashar'al, we're that restraint. Look around. The world is deteriorating. Climate change and global warming is real. I have a series, if you haven't visited it already, there's a series in which I've presented, O Yashar'al, where I speak of the closing scroll, where I speak on forced migrations, forced movement, how habitable places will begin to deteriorate and become uninhabitable, from disease, from plagues, from wars, from earthquakes to volcanoes. Man will be forced back to the region where life began. The wicked will gather in the valley of Megiddo, and many wicked will gather to march against the set-apart children of Yashar'al, whom I believe will be centered around the true Mount Sinai, which is currently known as Jabal al-Laws, situated in the northwest quadrant of what is now known as Saudi Arabia. I believe that millions, Tens of millions will be gathered, centered around the set-apart mountain of Yahuah. And I believe when you compare those tens of millions to the world population, it will be a remnant. And when you look at the large numbers, it will be a great multitude, as mentioned in Revelations 7:9. You see, my brothers and sisters, much is unraveling before our very eyes. Actions are coming. From the least to the greatest, there are great links that bring us together. What if I told you, my brothers and sisters, I have somebody I want you to meet, and I introduce you to someone who had their ears on each shoulder, who had their feet hanging where their ears supposed to be, who had their kneecaps at the bottom of their legs. Now, this might seem animated, my brothers and sisters, but it would be out of place. The same thought that you had when I said that and say that's absurd, that's crazy. That's what's happening amongst the body of Yashar'al. There are people in the wrong position in the wrong places. So a repositioning is coming, O Yashar'al. A repositioning that still keeps one in the body of Mashiach, but put them in their right place, linked together. What links the toes to the ankle? It is the foot. What links the knee to the body? It's the thigh and the calf. What links the arms to the body? It's at the shoulders. We will find ourselves put in our proper place, in our proper position, using the example of a body. Now let's look at a tree. What if a tree grew and the roots were just dangling out the ground, but the leaves and the rest of the tree was in the ground? What would you think? Where would the shade, where would comfort come? How would you be able to readily identify how big the tree is? The breadth, the depth. So it is with Yashar'al. If we're not positioned the way we're supposed to be positioned, it would be problematic. The vine. What if the vine grew in the ground and you could not see it? What if the fruit grew in the ground and it died and rotted quickly? It would be problematic. Again, the Almighty Father uses the body, a tree, a vine. What about a house? What if someone say, I got this beautiful house for you, but it has no roof? What if they say, I got this beautiful house for you, but it's held together by a water-soluble adhesive? So when it rains, it just falls apart. No nails or screws. All of these imageries that I'm giving you, my brothers and sisters, what if someone gave you something that fell apart? And everyone that is hearing this have had something in their life that they liked and it fell apart, or something broke off or wore out. Or we've seen people abuse things to where they are no longer usable. So it is with Yashar'al. So instead of fighting and trying to defend, instead of trying to give excuses why we got a deformed body here, or why we have a tree that is not in its right position, or the vine is not cared for in the way it should be, or the structure is not put together correctly, instead of coming with excuses, because that's what we're doing. We're excusing all these deformities or abnormalities, my brothers and sisters. Things that are not right or in their right place. People that are not in their right position. It's time to start defending them, my brothers and sisters. It's time to be as iron sharpen iron. It's time to realize we are as strong as our weakest link. So from the least to the greatest are our teachers equipping the one that is the youngest to the oldest, and in between with the instructions necessary to discern what the Spirit of the Almighty Father is saying to us. The great links. Where do things link up, my brothers and sisters? Let us begin to recognize the repositioning that will occur in the midst of all uncertainty, in the midst of all that is unfolding, in the midst of the coming vaccine, in the midst of more diseases and plagues, in the midst of widespread death and destruction beyond what we're seeing now. will come recognition for where the link should be, where we should link up, how we should link up, how we will be gathered together. Know this, O Yashar'al, the 144,000 and great multitude mentioned in Revelation 7th chapter are sealed and being refined and will soon emerge to where it would be very clear who they are, what is expected, and what will be done. The great links, O Yashar'al, let us find where the hand meets the wrist, or our kidneys function, or our heart beats. Let us recognize every member of the body of Yashar'al, from the least to the greatest. Let us be mindful, my brothers and sisters. Let me continue as I gradually come to a close. The great links. Come with me, O Yashar'al, to Zechariah chapter 2, verse 11. And many nations shall be joined to Yahuah in that day, and they shall become my people, and I shall dwell in your midst, and you shall know that Yahuah of hosts has sent me to you. Yes, there's the literal of Zechariah speaking, but he is prophesying of things to come. Consider Ephesians 4:16. It says, and from whom the entire body, joined and knit together by what every joint supplies, according to the working by which each part does its share, causes growth of the body for the building up of itself in love. My brothers and sisters, we will be connected. Unity comes for a set-apart nation. Come with me to Luke. Luke chapter 16, verse 10. It reads, he who is trustworthy is what is least, is trustworthy also in much. So he who is trustworthy in what is least is trustworthy also in much. And he who is unrighteous in what is least is unrighteous also in much. Seek to discern the life in this. It's identifying people who take things for granted, as well as those who pay attention to the least as well as the greatest and in between, who recognize every member of the body of Yashar'al, who recognize every function of the body of Yashar'al. Let us stop taking for granted one another. Let us stop taking for granted what is unfolding. Let us stop taking for granted that there is work to be done. Come with me to Hebrews chapter 8, verse 10 and 11. Hebrews chapter 8, verse 10 and 11. It reads, because this is the covenant that I shall make with the house of Yashar'al. After those days, says Yahuah, giving my laws in their mind, and I shall write them on their hearts. And I shall be their Almighty One, and they shall be my people. Could he be saying, my brothers and sisters, that he's writing it in our spirit, in our heart? Could he be saying that we must recognize the life of his living instructions and guidance? Could he be saying we must recognize the life in the text? Could he be saying how he has empowered and endowed us with the power and might to fulfill the task of worshiping and obeying him with all correction? The 11th verse in the 8th chapter of Hebrews read, and they shall be by no means teach each one his own neighbor and each one his brother, saying, know Yahuah, because they all shall know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them. You see, the teaching will prove that he will develop a relationship with us individually and collectively. Sure, there will be pastors, teachers, mores, bishops, and deacons chosen by him, led by him. There will be elders and counselors led and moved by him. But the ultimate teaching is him working in us, through us, one towards another. From the least to the greatest, O Yashar'al, let us prepare to recognize what is necessary and what will be established. My brothers and sisters, unity come. Are you ready? Are you ready to establish the links, the great links, where we connect one with another? Are you prepared to adapt and adjust to people that you don't know right now, but are drawn by the Almighty Father? See, it is He who builds this body. It is He who has established this strong tree planted by the rivers of water. It is He who produces this vine that brings about life and light and life. It is He who presents this tabernacle, this house, this structure. Know this, O Yashar'al. The refining of a set-apart nation is occurring. Soon and very soon, the obstacles that stand in the way will be removed. The obstacles that create a distraction will either be refined or removed. We will either purge things and people from our midst, or we will come away from things and people that we are in the midst of. Watch, O Yashar'al. There is a plan that is unfolding. And I believe the Most High have showed me many details, and I have presented many messages on how I believe this will unfold. And soon and very soon, the evidence, the proof, will become clearer and clearer with each passing moment. On that note, I say to you, Yashar'al, stay encouraged, be encouraged, lift your head up and believe, trust in what the Almighty Father has promised His children. Trust and believe. My prayer is that you're growing, that we're growing in good health, with strength, that more than anything we're growing in discernment, knowing that these bodies will go back to the earth as written in Ecclesiastes, and our spirit returns to Yahuah, the Almighty One. It didn't say go to heaven, which they said, oh, everybody going to heaven. No, it said return to Him. He is the beginning and the end. He is everywhere at all times, and He places us in a place of rest, in a state of sleep. The body deteriorates and goes back to the earth. Our spirit is in a place of rest until resurrection day. But there will be those that will be physically alive and witness the physical return of Yahusha Mashiach. Soon and very soon, what is necessary to bring us together will ramp up more intensely, O Yashar'al. On that note, my name is Symmanayah. I come to you in the name of Yahusha. And my prayer is that you're able to discern, respond, and act timely and correctly. On that note, I say to you, my brother, my sister, these words reach you for a reason. Pray and seek to discern why. Pray and seek to discern what responsibility have now been laid before you. Pray and understand what accountability do you have. And if I presented anything that you believe is life-giving, life-strengthening, consider subscribing, consider sharing it directly. For there are many people who sometimes will get the message wrong or may not say exactly what they heard. Do you know a more responsible person will direct the person to hear it from the person's mouth? Now, sometimes there are times when that will not be applicable. But make sure that if you've chosen the right things to do on how to respond to not only the messages that I present that I believe the Spirit has given me, but that He has given any one of our brothers or sisters, or even you. On that note, I bid you much Shalum, my brothers and sisters. And I say again, Shalum.